Hi there, this is Chris.
This is Keith.
And this is the $100 one-day weekend guitar project.
We're doing it.
So we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm down here for the weekend to visit Keith. There's a big guitar expo here in Charlotte that he's been going to for years and has been pestering me to come down and see for years. Finally got off my ass to come down here. It was really cool. Really cool vendors, great people to talk to, all sorts of interesting guitars, everything from high-end, unique things down to sort of bottom-of-the-barrel junker stuff. We go for the bottom of the barrel junker stuff. I think that's what that meant. And so while we were there yesterday, hanging out, checking all this stuff, we ran across a couple of vendors who basically sell parts. Some of it's sort of valuable vintage stuff. Some of it's just salvage stuff.
Crap.
And somewhere along the way, we decided, wouldn't it be fun to set a $100 budget? We have to buy all the parts to build a guitar, and we're going to build it today. So that's what we're doing. Keith's going to take a sec, show you the parts he got, tell us a little bit about what he's planning to do. Then I'll show you what I got, and we'll update you over the course of the day. So, monsieur?
You're going to love it.
You go.
Welcome. This is my $100 guitar. Okay. Found this neck. This was about 20, 30 bucks. Appears to be a Jackson based on the headstock, and the little tuners say Jackson. So, Jackson neck, ebony fingerboards, pretty straight, good shape. We had to fill in some holes in the back from when it used to be bolted to a different guitar, had all these goofy holes in it. I got them filled with toothpicks and glue, but to chop this stuff off, and this neck will be ready to go. All right, here's a body. It's some no-name Strat-looking thing. Last night we got these suckers home, and I shielded it with aluminum foil tape, which gives it some RF shielding to block out any radio frequency noise or extra electrical noise out of here. Makes the guitar quieter. I'm sure hoping this bridge is something good. It appears to have wiring to the jack, and I have a ground wire. So then all I need is a pick guard. This was maybe 20 or 30 bucks. It's preloaded with pickups. I got a humbucker and two singles made by Axel. I don't know. I think they're around in the 90s. This appears to be wired okay. We're going to find out if it really works soon enough. I got a couple hardware parts to finish out the guitar. Bolts to attach the neck. I got a couple of strap knobs. Got a whammy bar. And I got the plate for the back. Somewhere I got screws for that. We're ready to go.
So, I kind of did the same sort of thing, got a collection of stuff. It was really fun to rummage through this stuff. A lot of it was crap. Well, it's all kind of crap, really. But got to keep it within 100 bucks, and I think I hit 100 bucks on the dot, maybe 95, not sure. I do have one or two other little blips I got to deal with, which we'll get to in a moment. So, similar to Keith, I got a Strat body. I can't help it. It always must be black. There were all sorts. There was like a puke green one and all sorts of other crap, but I got to have a black guitar. This one also had an advantage. It had some of the hardware in it. It's got a basic bridge. It's actually a 3-spring thing. That there is there all set up. I don't have a bar for it because I don't care. It's flush mount, so I should be good there. Got the pickup, the jack wired in and in place. That's okay. Like Keith, we did some work on these last night already. In my case, just like Keith, I did the tape wiring. We're using sort of duct metallic tape. Actually works really well. Keith's done this before in another projects of his, so he helped me out with a little bit of showing me how to do this, but it worked like a champ, and hopefully it'll make a bit of a difference. In addition, I've been filling in a bunch of holes. The holes for the original fingerboard don't match the one that I got, so I've been using toothpicks, sticking them in there just to sort of fill in the spaces. I'm probably not even going to bother to paint them black. Who cares? Just leave them as weird little marks, I guess. That's sort of all you need to know about the body for now. As far as a neck, I wound up going with basically sort of a Strat type neck. It's actually a Fender branded neck for one of their low-end lines called the Starcaster. Nothing extraordinary about it. Maple fingerboard. The frets are half decent. Again, I had to do some hole filling on the back. I have some tuning pegs, but the screw holes don't fit that, so I've already been doing some patching up in there. The screw holes for the neck joint also don't match, so I'm filling these in and we'll just drill in some fresh holes. I do have one problem here. This neck does not have a nut on it, and no matter where we ran around in the greater Charlotte area yesterday, I wasn't able to find a nut that worked. So I may hit a wall with this thing, but we'll see. We're going to try and run out a little later today and see if we can find a nut. As for the pick guard, similar to Keith, I just like the way this looks. This is a completely wacky configuration. It's a humbucker EMG sort of consumer brand called Select up on the top. Some no-name single coil in the middle with a really cool chrome cover on it.
Actually, it's cool.
And then a Duncan sort of Seymour knockoff of some sort. Like Keith's, This is already wired up. This is going to save us a lot of time, obviously. 3 pots, switch pickup, switcher, obviously. None of these things have covers. I'll get back to that. And then, of course, all of the tuning peg doodads and crap you need, and I went with some nice vomit green plugs. So this should be interesting. So now you know where we're heading. We're going to spend a little time and clean off all of our dowel cuts and all that sort of stuff, and then we're going to be ready to start putting stuff together. Talk to you soon.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the $100 Guitar Project. We're now in my garage where I need to do a little bit of routing type action. Chris and I just had a discussion. My issue, before we get to that, here's what we've done so far that you missed. Filled in all the holes with toothpicks last night and glued it. I let it set. It's dried. Sanded all this flush. I pretty well ripped the finish off of the heel of the neck here. I don't really care. This is going to get covered and fine, it'll work. So the neck is pretty well finished. The pick guard, I had to trim out a tiny little notch here to accommodate it, the bridge on the body, which is fine, but you'll also see this potentiometer, this tone pot, is not fitting into the cavity. So I am going to have to pull out a little bit of material in here, not all the way down, just enough to let that potentiometer slide back past this. So we're about to sort of route that out. I considered using a drill. That sounds like it's going to be a dangerous idea, so instead I'm going to file and sand this sucker. Once I have that done, I will be able to dry fit this guitar and start considering bolting things together, and well, the biggest thing is going to be wiring the jack and everything, all the electronics. But we're moving ahead. Stay tuned.
Alright, so moving along slowly but surely. Kind of at the same state Keith is. I haven't had to deal with quite as much in terms of the routing, but I have managed to sand down all of my little dowel fills. Those are actually toothpicks. Again, like Keith, don't care how this looks back here, but this is smooth and ready to be drilled with fresh holes. And then back here, I got the old holes from the old tuning pegs filed out. You can see I've got some of them on here already. Starting to look a little bit like a guitar. And then, what else we got going on here? As far as the pickguard system's put on, I just put the pegs on because the knobs because I wanted to see how barfy green it looked. It looks barfy green. And then I discovered that I have to cut off some of the screws for the pickups because they were digging down into the back of the body. So I just used Keith's Dremel tool to shave those off, so I'm all good to go. I've also double-checked the wiring on here, and everything looks pretty good. So with a little luck, the only 2 wires I'm going to have to solder is the ground from the guitar itself and the lead from the output jack. Finally, as for the body itself, I got the holes filled in. I was thinking about using a Sharpie marker to fill it in to make it look more black, but then I kind of went, you know, I sort of like it with the little pinholes. What the heck, we're just going to leave it. So next step will be to drill some holes in here for the fingerboard, or the pickguard rather, do a little soldering. Things are going to start to come together pretty quickly, I think. So.
Hi, welcome back to the $100 Guitar Project. My guitar is coming along. Neck, we've drilled out the holes so we can attach the neck to the body. The holes actually lined up with some of the old ones and they're re-drilled out. It'll be fine. Here's the guitar body. Went ahead and finished routing out everything to make the potentiometers fit in there. It's a little sloppy, but I have re-shielded it. This body is good to go. We have the neck pocket ready to go. The little filler pieces there, glued in place. The other holes are okay. Finally, I have the pick guard where I have kind of sloppily shielded it, but my RF shielding here is done. This guy's ready to get wired up and then bolted together. Then we got a $100 guitar.
All right, moving along. We're getting close to the home stretch here. Here's current status. Neck on here. I got my holes drilled in the wood here. Unlike Keith's situation, I got lucky and the holes I needed to drill did not overlap into the old holes, so I got some solid, clean holes in there that should grab really well. We went out and found a nut. Lo and behold, took a little bit of minor sanding to get it to fit properly, but not a big deal. It's secured in there with crazy glue, as per the suggestion of the Guitar Center dude. We're going to be putting a couple of string trees on here. I got to do a couple more tuning pegs, of course, but that's all sort of superfluous. So the neck's pretty much good to go. As far as the body, not much more going on here. I got the holes drilled for the fingerboard, so that's all ready to go. Unlike Keith, I never bothered to fill this large center hole back behind the neck joint. We didn't have a dowel big enough, and frankly, in my case, the plate's going to cover it anyhow, so I don't care too much about that. But other than that, the body's pretty much all set to go at this point. And then finally, with the fingerboard, not much has changed here, but we're getting ready to do the soldering job, which will be interesting. One tip for you crazy kids out there who might decide to do a project like this: as we've been doing this over the course of the day, Keith and I have realized that we're not doing a very good job of communicating with each other and going, hey dude, I just thought of a great way to do this. Hey man, I just thought of a great way to do this. Case in point, the shielding behind the fingerboard to help against the RF rays and cancerous, whatever you want to call it, and all that stuff. In my case, when it came time to do it last night, I took my pickups off and simply did 2 strips of the tape right there, and then I flipped it over and used an X-Acto knife to cut the holes out, put the pickups back on. I only thought to mention this to Keith after watching Keith doing it all piecemeal.
Stupid!
Like Frankensteinish. I don't know how easy it is to see, but he's doing little parts and pieces all over the place. Would have been a lot easier if we'd simply thought to take the pickups off and done 2 small strips, basically. Same result at the end of the day, but, you know, live and learn with these things. I'm sure there are going to be 2 or 3 things along here that after the fact Keith's going to go, why didn't you do it this way? Anyhow, long story short, we're getting really close. We are ready to solder our fingerboards to the jack and bridge ground connections. We're both a little scared of the soldering process. Neither of us are particularly good at it, but if we can just get past that, then it's all downhill. We're just going to bolt stuff up, plug it in, and hopefully not electrocute ourselves to death. $100 2-day guitar project, home stretch. Yay.
Hey everybody! Believe it or not, this guitar is done! I didn't put the back plate on yet, it's sitting over there, but that's because I've had some issues, and I do still have a ground issue. I'm currently have a string attached to the face of the guitar and to me to help ground it, but I clearly have a ground issue here. I'm not the best with the wiring of electronics, but I do get noise out of the guitar. So what I guess you didn't see since we last shot something, I finished with the pick guard, all the shielding, attached it, the neck. I had to do a little bit more drilling out of the neck to get all the bolts to fit right. I had to take an oddball bolt off of my parts box just to get it fit. So I have one brass screw that doesn't match, which is perfect for this guitar. The tuners on the headstock, you'll see 4 of the strings are strung backwards. You get such a break angle off of the nut that all 4 of these guys are strung backwards. These are strung normal. I don't know, whatever, but it keeps stuff from flying off of the nut. I had to jack the saddles way up just so I could get clearance, and you can see the how much action there is on this thing. It's pretty dreadful as you're getting closer to the as you get closer to the single coils. But however, you do get sound out of it. It does work. $100 in under 24 hours. We got this together in about 23 hours. This guitar works, and it is a piece of garbage. We're going.
And so, here we are at the finale of the $100 24 hours project. Here it is, the finished product, quote unquote. I use that term loosely. It looks pretty much like you'd expect, given all the parts I've been showing you for the past few hours. It actually more or less works. Needless to say, it's not set up at all. The strings are pretty high. The frets are a little goofy. The pickups in particular are kind of all over the place. I haven't quite wrapped my head around about which damn pickup is doing which damn thing, really. They have very odd sounds, but it could be worse. I had to do a little bit of hacking. Some of the tuning pegs up here don't have washers like they probably should. We couldn't find any string trees, for those of you that know what a string tree is, but screw it. Let's just put it out there and get it going. It's actually playable, believe it or not. It's got green pegs. How could it not be playable, you know? Goes out of tune a lot, too.
Real fucking easy.
Yeah. So, yeah. Interestingly, or perhaps not surprisingly, depending on your point of view, I'm actually kind of digging the middle pickup. I don't understand what it is. Keith pointed out earlier a few hours ago we had this all put together.
Big magnet!
Yes, big magnet. This fucker's got a huge magnet on it. In fact, I kept getting stuff stuck to it, which is a good thing because I kept losing screws as we were pulling the stuff apart.
Took the screwdriver out of my hand!
Yes! But the middle pickup's got a pretty good sound. Now, I have to say, overall, at the end of the day, I've had a bit of an easier time at it than Keith did, unfortunately. He's had to deal with a bit of shimming on his neck, as he was just describing to you. He's still got a grounding problem, which, although that's not a huge deal, does necessitate pulling everything apart again. Yeah. But I qualify both of these as functioning guitars.
Yep.
Not our favorite guitars, but that wasn't the point. So there you have it. $100, 24 hours.
Done! Bow! Done, fuckers! See you. Chris, we're shooting video.